There is something you have been walking around for months, maybe longer. You know exactly what it is. The fact that you are still walking around it is not caution. It is a choice. Welcome to the Stoic Compass. I am Epictetus, and today I am joined by Carl Jung and LAOZI. Today we are examining how do you face the things you have been refusing to face. Let us start with what is actually happening. You are not confused about what needs to be faced. You are not waiting for more information. You are not gathering courage slowly and responsibly. You are avoiding. The thing is sitting right there. You walk past it every morning and you tell yourself today is not the right day. But what is the right day? What condition must be met before you are willing to look at what is already true? There is no condition. There is only the refusal, and the price the refusal extracts from you every single day you maintain it.
I think you are being too fast, Epictetus. You say the person knows exactly what they are avoiding, but in my experience, that is rarely the case. What we refuse to face is usually not something we can simply name and then confront. It is something the psyche has been actively working to keep out of sight. The mind does not just distract itself from the truth, it constructs entire systems of thought and behavior specifically designed to prevent the truth from surfacing. The person who says, "I am not avoiding anything," is often not lying. They genuinely cannot see it. The blindness is the very thing that needs to be examined.
You are both assuming that the person has a fixed, knowable interior that is either seen or hidden. But what if the thing they are avoiding is not a fact about themselves? What if it is a situation that requires them to stop being who they have decided they are? The avoidance is not always fear of pain. Sometimes it is the unwillingness to become something unfamiliar. And no amount of confrontation, from inside or outside, resolves that. It resolves itself when the person is ready to stop holding the old shape so tightly.
That sounds like permission to wait indefinitely. When you are ready. What does ready mean? The person sitting at home tonight, unable to have the conversation with their spouse, unable to look at their finances, unable to admit the job is destroying them. That person is not waiting for readiness. They are building a very comfortable prison and calling it patience. Readiness is not a feeling that arrives. It is a decision you make when you stop mistaking comfort for safety.
I do not disagree that action is required eventually, but you are describing the symptom as if it were the problem. Avoidance is not weakness, it is a signal. It is the psyche saying, this territory is guarded for a reason. Something is protected behind the wall you are unwilling to look over. When people rush past that signal because someone told them to be brave, they often break through into something they were not equipped to integrate. The wall was doing something. You cannot simply bulldoze it and expect the person to emerge whole.
There is something you are both circling around. The wall, the refusal, the avoidance. These are not mistakes. They are what happened. The person built them because at some point it was necessary. The question is not whether they were wrong to build them. The question is whether those walls still match what is actually here. Most of the time they do not. But the walls are still standing because no one has paused long enough to look at what the territory actually looks like now.
Fine. The wall served a purpose once, I will grant you that. But right now, today, the wall is costing something. Every hour you spend maintaining the wall is an hour you are not using your judgment, not living by your values, not making a real choice. You cannot have both. You cannot keep the wall up and also claim you are living a deliberate life. At some point, the question is not, why did I build this? It is, am I going to keep paying for it?
But here is what I find in practice. When people finally do face what they have been avoiding, what they discover is almost never what they expected to find. They expected a monster, they expected something shameful or catastrophic. What they find is usually something much quieter, a grief they never finished, a disappointment that never got acknowledged, a version of themselves they gave up a long time ago without ever mourning the loss. The reason the avoidance persists is not that the thing is too terrible to face. It is that facing it requires admitting something that disrupts the entire story the person has been living inside.
That is closer to what I would say, and it points at something neither of you have named. The thing being avoided is often not a problem to be solved. It is a reality to be accepted. People do not avoid problems, they avoid acceptance. They can work on a problem forever. Working on it is itself a way of not accepting it. The facing does not happen when you gather the courage to look. It happens when you stop insisting that what is there should not be there.
You are saying that the act of facing is actually an act of acceptance. I can follow that, but I want to push on it. Because acceptance, the way most people practice it, becomes another way of doing nothing. I accept that I am in this situation. and then nothing changes. Real acceptance is not passive. If you accept that you have been avoiding something, then the next move is immediate. You name it, you say it out loud or write it down. You do not sit with the acceptance like it is a meditation. You let the acceptance be the thing that finally makes movement possible.
I think that is right, but the naming has to be honest. Not the name the person has been giving the thing for years. Not the comfortable version. I am stressed at work is not naming. I have been miserable in this work for 3 years, and I have been telling myself it will change because I cannot face what it would mean to admit it will not is naming. The precision matters. The psyche does not respond to approximations. It responds to the thing itself.
Most people never say the thing itself. They say a version of it that protects them from the full weight of it, and because they stop short of the thing itself, nothing moves. I have seen this over and over. The person insists they have faced the truth, but they have faced a softened version, a version that does not require anything of them, and so they wonder why they do not feel different.
And then they come to someone like you, Jung, and spend 5 years excavating the softened versions, hoping eventually to get to the real one. I am not dismissing that work, but I want to know what a person can do tonight. Not in 5 years of analysis, tonight when they are sitting with the thing they have been walking around.
What they can do tonight is ask themselves one honest question. Not what am I afraid of? That is too easy to deflect. But what would I have to give up if I faced this? Because behind every avoidance, there is a bargain. The person is holding on to something, an identity, a relationship, a version of the past that still makes sense. And facing the truth would cost them that thing. When they can name what the bargain is, they are finally in contact with the real territory.
And when they name it, they should not immediately try to fix it or resolve it. Just let it sit there named. That alone is more than most people ever do. You would be surprised how much moves on its own once you have stopped pretending the thing is not there.
That I can agree with. Stop pretending the thing is not there. That is the beginning, not the whole work, not the end. But you cannot start anywhere else.
No, you cannot. And I would add that this is not a one-time act. What we are describing is a practice. The avoided thing does not get faced once and then disappear. It has to be met repeatedly in different lights until the relationship between the person and the truth has genuinely changed.
The river does not cross the stone once. It is always crossing the stone. What changes is not the stone. What changes is how much the stone interrupts the movement of the water. After enough time, it barely does.
What you are both pointing at, from your different angles, is that the act of facing is not a single dramatic moment. It is a daily practice of not looking away. I can respect that. But someone has to say it plainly. The daily practice begins with a single act of not looking away. And that act is available right now. You do not need 5 years. You do not need the right conditions. You need to stop walking around it and look at it directly, even for 30 seconds.
30 seconds is enough to begin. The psyche does not require grand gestures. It requires honesty. Even a brief, unguarded moment of honesty can crack something that has been sealed for years. The difficulty is not the duration. It is the willingness to be unguarded.
Unguarded is the right word. Most people face things while still holding a defense. They look at the thing, but they are already composing their response to it before they have really seen it. The facing only works when you let the thing be exactly what it is before you do anything at all with it.
Before you explain it, before you justify it, before you figure out what to do about it, just see it. That is the first move, and it is the move everyone skips.
They skip it because the moment of pure seeing is the most exposing moment of all. When you stop explaining and justifying and planning, and you simply look at what is there, you cannot pretend anymore. And the identity that has been organized around the pretending begins to feel very unstable. That instability is not a sign that something is going wrong. It is a sign that something true is finally visible.
Most people feel that instability and immediately reach for something solid to hold. They go back to the explaining. They go back to the planning. They go back to the story. Because the story, even a painful story, is at least a known shape. The shapelessness of genuine seeing is harder to tolerate than a familiar pain.
So they choose the familiar pain. They choose the thing they already know how to carry over the unknown territory of actually looking at it. And they wonder why nothing changes. Nothing changes because they keep making the same choice and calling it suffering as if it arrived from outside.
That is one of the most consistent things I observed in clinical work. The person who comes in convinced they are a victim of their circumstances almost always has an unconscious investment in those very circumstances. Not because they enjoy suffering, but because the suffering is known and known things feel controllable. Even when they are miserable, the unfamiliar truth feels more dangerous than the familiar wound.
And so they return to the wound again and again, not because they are broken, but because the wound is at least theirs. It fits the shape of who they have decided they are. To face the thing that has been avoided is to risk not knowing who you are without it.
Then let them risk it. What is the alternative? Spending your one life walking circles around a thing you refuse to look at? That is not caution. That is waste. Whatever you discover when you finally look at the thing you have been avoiding, it cannot be worse than the cost of the avoidance. It cannot cost more than what you are already paying. All of this, and we have not yet said the one thing you actually need to hear. So let us say it.
The thing you have been avoiding is not waiting for you to become strong enough to face it. It is waiting for you to stop pretending it is not there. Most people believe that facing something difficult requires extraordinary courage. It does not. It requires a moment of honesty, so brief it barely registers as an act. One moment where you stop composing the story, stop explaining the situation to yourself, and simply look at what is actually true. Not what you wish were true, not what should have been true, what is. Behind most long-term avoidance there is a bargain. Something you are holding on to that facing the truth would require you to give up. A version of yourself, a belief about someone you love, a story that makes the past make sense. You are not avoiding the pain. You are protecting the bargain. The moment you can name the bargain clearly, something shifts. Not dramatically, but genuinely. You do not have to resolve anything tonight. You do not have to make a decision or have the conversation or dismantle the story all at once. But you do have to stop stopping short of the real thing. Today, try this. Sit down with a piece of paper and write one sentence that begins, "What I actually know but have been refusing to admit is..." Do not write the comfortable version. Write the one that makes your hands slow down. That is where the real work begins, and that is where you have the most to gain.
You know what the sentence is. You have known it for a long time. The only question that remains is whether you will write it, or whether you will choose one more time to walk around it. The debate is finished. The voices are quiet now. What is left is just you and the thing that has been waiting. It has no opinion about when you look at it. It will be there either way. The only one who loses anything by waiting is you. If today's conversation has served you, take it further. Pay Attention by C. Trebuet. 12 Lessons in the Practice of Seeing Clearly. Available now on Amazon.